Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 10 teams with a buffed Pokemon for the upcoming season for the Open Great League. We always do this before the season starts, just so we can take a look at some Pokemon that got buffed so you can try them out for the first 3 weeks. Where Elo doesn't matter, where nothing really matters. So those are going to be some interesting teams for you. Still very good teams to play, so you're not going to lose most likely too many battles with those, but only around buffed Pokemon. So let's hop right into it. But before we do this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We kind of getting closer to the 50-50 split, would really appreciate this, but let's move right into the meta analysis. Taking a look at the meta now real quick, we're going to see that Cresselia is now the #1 Pokemon. So if you played the game recently, we had a free research, basically we had to do 2 raids in order to get a Cresselia for Great League. So definitely something, if you got this one, something that you definitely want to try out here. Otherwise, what you're going to see as well, some new Pokemon kind of got a little bit higher up. For example, if a Relegator was rank 400 before, now it's a rank 9 as a Shadow variant. You want to run Ice Beam because it's going to allow you to hit those grass as well as the Dragon-type Pokemon for super effective damage. Then we're going to take a look a little bit further down. We're going to have the normal Feraligatr, but then we're going to have quite a few Pokemon back to back to back. We're going to have the Shadow variant of Empoleon running the new move Steel Wing, going to go up to a rank 21. Great typing being Steel and Water, giving it a lot of defensive usability as well there. But also we're going to have the Shadow Glade, which is one of the Pokemon I'm most curious about, because this Pokemon is going to be able to get to close combat as well as Leaf Blade is so insanely fast. For sure going to showcase it eventually on my channel as well for both Great as well as Ultra League. And then we're going to go a little bit further, where we're going to see the Goodra. And I'm still kind of curious if Goodra is actually going to be that much better now compared to before. It's going to be better for sure. Aquatear is going to be better compared to the Muddy Water. But I'm still kind of doubtful that this Pokemon actually going to have a lot of play. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm totally fine being wrong on this one, but I feel like Dragonair is just the better Pokemon to use. But if you have a Goodra, definitely something you might want to try out. And otherwise, not a lot really have changed. We only have those huge meta updates there. You're going to have a Como, for example, which is going to have now Brick Break, which got updated. We have the Cross Chop on Machamp. So you have those small updates. It's going to impact it maybe in the meta a little bit, but not that crazy. And here we're going to see the first and basically only Pokemon that really got upgraded by a new attack, which is Sand Attack Powdon. Going to now be way better, because before you had to use an Elemental Fang in order to play this Pokemon. Now with the Sand Attack, you're going to be able to generate energy a little bit faster while having a stab move. And I can't wait to try this Pokemon out. Most likely one of the first I'm going to take a look at on this channel, so definitely stay tuned for this. And this is going to be it for the meta analysis, so let's go straight into the teams. Before we hop onto the first team, if you wanted to support the channel, there's still the membership option. Would really appreciate it, helps out the channel a lot, and you get some benefits as well, so check that one out. But let's move right on to the first team here. We're going to take a look at the Obstagoon. Obstagoon, I would imagine, going to have a little bit more play this next season. Got buffed with Cross Chop. But not only because of this, I think it's going to have a little bit more play, but also because of the meta. If we're going to take a look at the top meta Pokemon, we're going to see Pokemon like Cresselia, a Pokemon that you can beat thanks to the move Night Slash. Here you're actually going to hard beat this Pokemon, because usually they're running Future Sight nowadays. Could see that Moonblast might come back as a main move. I'm not too sure about it, but right now Future Sight is a little bit more common. And then we're going to have here Annihilape as a Say-So, which is going to help you out quite a bit against a lot of Pokemon. You have Ice Punch here to give you coverage against Gligar, and then Obstagoon in the back should be kinda neutral. And yeah, basically Cresselia tries to get rid of Fire-type Pokemon, which is going to be her biggest weakness, and Annihilape tries to bait out potential Fairy-type Pokemon, as this is going to be also weakness of Obstagoon. And so yeah, Obstagoon is supposed to sweep endgame. Against Pokemon like Registeel, you're also going to win the 2-shield scenario. Against Lickitung, you're going to be the hardest answer, and that's also the cool thing about this. If the opponent swaps in their Lickitung against your Cresselia because they lose the lead, they're going to get hard walled by an Obstagoon, which is going to be kinda amazing. So, but yeah, I think Obstagoon going to have a little bit more play this season. Going to be interesting if this Pokemon actually going to get some more usage. Also going to be cool against Feraligatr, which you see as well as a win, because you're going to double or triple resist the fast move of it. So that's going to be a great one. And we can move on right into team number 2. Team number 2 are going to be around a Water Pulse buff, or Water Pulse on Celio especially. I feel like it's going to be cool. You can also still run it on the Walrein over Earthquake. Earthquake is a cool coverage move, but especially for Celio, who doesn't have a good coverage move, Water Pulse might be really cool. While I'm recording this video, we don't know the energy stats of this move. People think it's going to be 55, I think it might be even 50, which would be really cool for it. But otherwise, here we're going to have the Clodsire in the lead, the Dugong as a Sace-Up, and then the Warrain / the Celio in the back. We're going to have other options here as well. For example, the Sace-Up of Lickitung. You could also even argue of going for the Sableye Sace-Up if you have the Clodsire in the lead. But yeah, here we also have the option of the Sableye in the lead as well for matchups like the Cresselia, because that can be a little bit tricky otherwise. But as you can see here, seems very solid on paper. You kind of need to have some kind of fine type answer in the lead. You can have to have the Dugong as a Sace-Up, which is going to be very neutral against a lot of Pokemon, and then the back Celio can kind of try to clean up. I could see that a Ghost type might be even a little bit better for you in the lead, but Clodsire going to be better against something like Lickitung, which can be a little bit of a trickier matchup as well, so it's a little bit tricky, but I think it still should work out pretty well. Moving on, Sand Attack. Sand Attack is going to be a new move coming up. We're going to have a team here that's for Hippowdon or also for the Sand Slash, both of them learning Sand Attack, so both of them kind of would function for this team. We're going to have the lead of Pelipper. Pelipper has the advantage over the Mantine for being better against Skarmory. It's still not going to be the most beautiful matchup, but it's definitely going to be a little bit of a better matchup. And Hippowdon is going to be great for Pokemon like a Lantern, which you should be able to beat now, which would be really cool. In general, don't think that Hippowdon or like Sand Slash or anything like this is going to be like becoming top tier meta anyway. This is more for fun, this is more for spice. Sand Attack, again, like the Pokemon that have it currently at least, are not going to really benefit crazy amount of much, but like here we're gonna see the Pelipper plus Lickitung core again, going to be really great in the current meta. Charger Bug going to be also an option as a Sace-Up. I think Charger Bug is going to become a little bit more, yeah, interesting this season as well. I'm going to make most likely another video about like the top 10 Pokemon that got buffed this season while not actually receiving a buff. But yeah, Charger Bug could be an option as well. Kinda you want to try to swap out into your Sace-Up and bait out Pokemon like the Gligar, which you would not really want to face as a Sand Attack user. So that's kinda where also Charger Bug actually does a pretty good job with that. Moving on, we're going to take a look at the top team from last season, which is going to have the buffed variant of the Dragonair, because Dragonair now has buffed Awkward Tail, and so this is going to be still a team that you really want to run. We have Whiscash or the Lantern as an option. It's an RPS team. Basically, you want to win the lead. If you win the lead, you can basically win the game, because you can just RPS with the best core in the game, which is Whiscash and Skarmory. This is kind of how it's supposed to function. Lantern helps you in some certain matchups, but I think Whiscash is just the more safe and better one to run. I played this team a little bit as well. I don't think I made a video about it, but yeah, it got to rank 1 in the world as well, as far as I know, last season, so it's going to be just a little bit better this season, because the meta itself, it's not going to be that any Pokemon really drops out of the meta, so like the meta teams from last season is still going to be very decent this season, so definitely is something that you can still try to run. Team number 5, something I'm mainly excited about. You're going to see here also a lot of times like very similar Pokemon, because we have also very similar Pokemon we try to run a team around. But here, this is a team that I try to build around Machamp, with Mantine, with a Lickitung, with also some other options like the Cresselia in the lead, which is most likely even a little bit better. But basically, you're going to have here a lead that's going to be a little bit weak against Steel-type Pokemon, and Sace-Up that's kind of neutral. Lickitung is actually neutral against basically every Steel-type Pokemon, even against the Registeel. You can even sometimes flip it, which is just making Lickitung so insane. Like, I kind of would like to see a Body Slam nerf, but yeah, Lickitung is going to be everywhere this season anyway. And then we're going to have Machamp in the back, and Machamp looks great on paper. I think this Pokemon is going to be amazing. I can't wait to try this one out. This team is going to be very bulky, very meta, but again, there are going to be other options that you can run as well. You have to be a little bit careful again about a Pokemon like a Gligar would be really tricky for you to deal with, or something like a Mantine, so definitely make sure to try to bait them out with something like a Sace-Up there, and try to have a decent answer for those in the lead. Mantine is a decent answer for Gligar in the lead, because you have Ice Beam, but also something like the Cresselia would work out pretty well, I would say. Team number 6. Again, I'm not too sure if Goodra is actually good. Very non-original team here, I would say. We're going to have the Dragonair with the buffed Awkward Tail, we have the Goodra with the added and buffed Awkward Tail, and we're going to have the Galarian Stunfisk in the lead. On paper, this team looks kind of nice. Like, Feraligatr is going to not be an issue. An issue will be, though, the Azumarill. Azumarill could be tricky for this team to deal with, for sure. There are other options, which you see on the screen as well, which would be, for example, the Lantern. Not too sure how it's going to be functioning against some other Pokemon though with Lantern, but yeah, again, like this would definitely a team that you could run around the Goodra if you want to. Sableye would be an option as well as a Seisob if you have this one over Dragonair, but again, I feel like that, yeah, I'm not too sure how good Goodra actually going to be. Like, a lot of people are really excited for it. Hopefully they're right with it, but I'm not too sure about it, so we have to actually see how this is going to work out. But let's move on to team number 7. Team number 7 going to be around Hakoma-O. Hakoma-O getting the Brick Break, but also we're going to have actually Feraligatr on there as well. I have another Feraligatr team that was built around Feraligatr later on, but I feel like this is going to be a very solid lineup. It's kind of inspired by a legend team that I used last season around Hakoma-O, which I think had like Lickitung and the Lantern in the back and was really decent. And now I kind of try to basically make it a little bit more for the nowadays meta. Feraligatr Seisob also works out pretty well against Cresselia. Doesn't look good on paper, but Shadow Claw is just going to destroy, and Lantern in the back as well going to help you out quite a bit. I think this team is going to be really, really solid as well. Yeah, Hakoma-O going to be a solid Pokemon to run. Maybe I'm going to take a look at this team as well. I think it's going to be a great one to play for the upcoming season. But yeah, definitely something to look forward to. Hakoma-O going to be interesting with Brick Break. Most likely going to showcase on my channel anyway. Team number 8, the better Medicham. We're going to have Gallade here. Gallade having access to Psycho Cut is one of the updates I'm actually the most excited about, because getting to close combat and leaf play that fast is going to be insane. Like, this is going to eat shields for breakfast. But as you can see as well, we're going to have the Annihilate as a Seisob, which is a great Seisob in the current meta. We're running Ice Punch for the potential of the Gligar. Yeah, Gligar is one of the Pokemon that I don't want to face with this one. And basically, yeah, you kind of want to sweep endgame with Gallade. Gallade, especially in the Shadow variant, you can one-shot most Pokemon in the meta. It is absurd. One-shotting was nice and like a Feraligatr or like a Bastion for sure, which is going to be insane. So, can't wait to try it out. Issue for this team would be something like the Charger Bug again. Charger Bug is one of the best Pokemon for the new meta as well. So Charger Bug might be a little bit tricky for this one, because you have like Gallade, every move of Gallade gets basically resisted by Charger Bug, which is a little bit annoying, and your lead is going to be weak, and Annihilate is kind of neutral. So yeah, Charger Bug could be a little bit of an issue for this team though. Have to be a little bit careful though. Team number 9, we're going to have the Penguin here. We're going to have the Empoleon. Empoleon with Steel Wing, especially in the Shadow variant, seems to be one of the best new Pokemon to run. Being able to beat Cresselia, even Lickitung, even Carving, of course, Carving with the Steel Wing being super effective, Hand Stab. Even the Skarmory, you're going to be able to completely wall. Like, the False Move Skarmory is double resisted, and the Charge Moves are single resisted. There are so many matchups that you're going to be able to win with this Pokemon, which is going to be insane. And honestly, Empoleon is going to be one of the coolest Pokemon to run. Here we have a very solid team. I really like the core of the Empoleon plus Trevenant. I think it's going to be a great core for the upcoming season. Does not really have any weakness other than maybe Feraligatr, but Feraligatr again is kind of neutral, I would say. Seisob, maybe actually Sableye is better than the Annihilate, not too sure about it, but both of them going to be kind of fine. And in the back you also would have the option to go for the already showcased before, the Gallade there as well in the back, which would also work out pretty well as a core of Empoleon plus Gallade. But yeah, basically you have two Pokemon in the back that can deal with Flying type Pokemon. You have Empoleon to kinda, yeah, run through most teams with the crazy moveset of Steel Wing, Hydro Cannon, as well as the Drill Peck. Final team for today, going to be a Gator team, a Feraligatr here, the Feraligatr. We're going to be able to just go ahead and go for the Shadow Claw variant as a Shadow one, with the Galarian Stunfisk in the lead and the Mantine in the back. Basically, your goal is to try to bait out something like an electric type Pokemon with the Feraligatr. Feraligatr is one of the most neutral Pokemon in this current meta, and this is something that you can try to take advantage of. The Mantine in the back is going to really benefit of you getting rid of a certain kind of electric type Pokemon, like something like a Lantern or whatever. I would actually maybe consider going for Crunch over the Ice Beam on Feraligatr just for the Lantern matchup. But yeah, that's something that you can kind of decide for yourself. But I feel like this team is going to be great. I think it's going to be a very solid matchup that you can run here as well. And Galarian Stunfisk looks really solid in the current meta. Honestly, Galarian Stunfisk might be a little bit underrated. Maybe we want to take a look at this Pokemon as well. But this is going to be it for this video. Still, my voice is a little bit tricky, but it still hopefully was fine. If you enjoyed this one, it's a lot of work. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Would really appreciate it, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.